Hello and good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well this evening.
Hi all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Spread the word, everybody, if you're watching this evening. So,
First full team together.
Yeah, first of the podcast from the Bizarre Dimensions team. Hope you're all well this evening. Just before we announce our special guest for the evening, just want to wait. Actually, just wait a bit because I think people are still tuning in. There's only one. Somebody check it on the page. Let's have a look.
I can't get out at the moment.
Oh, and I'll have a quick look. I know we've got quite a lot of people
I'm sorry.
interested in it.
Can someone who's watching share to Wednesday Paranormal, please?
It should be on there.
No, I can't see it.
Oh, God. That's probably why there's nobody calling. They're all waiting for it as well.
Yeah.
Shall I check it on if it's on Bizarre?
Yes, please. I can't see it there either.
I'm getting loads of messages to say
Where are
you? Oh, well, I was going to have to catch up, isn't it? Oh, damn. Oh, well, okay. Right, well, never mind. Okay, I'll just have to catch up later. So, basically, this last week was the release of our streaming video on Paraflix, which was the 4 episodes, I think 5 episodes was there, of residential haunting cases and cleansings.
Yeah.
So if you've not had a chance to have a look at those yet, they're all local hauntings and local cleansings as well. So we've done a lot of work there in relation to that. Why can't anybody see us? What's going on? Never mind.
I've just gone on to Bizarre Dimensions, so
It's on there.
I'm on there now, yeah.
Okay. All right. And yeah, it's been well received at the moment. There's been a lot of good positive feedback, and for the work that we've done in relation to helping families out. So, I'm quite proud of that project. If you've noticed on our page, there's a lot of events coming up soon towards the end of the year, obviously after COVID, we were allowed out. So keep an eye on those events. We have Whittington Castle booked, Antwerp Mansion. Where else we got, John?
The Halloween special, Smelly Baths, which will be unreal.
And there's one more in there. Derby, yeah, of course.
Oh, God.
Yeah, plus there's going to be some more events coming up soon. We're looking this time for a lot more history based. Going back as many centuries as we can. Really, we want to try and pick up on those because we've done a lot of residentials lately. We want to experience a bit more history, cut through some more layers. So, without further ado, the man is waiting in the background. Just want to tell you about tonight's guest. He takes no introduction. With over 120 episodes of Most Haunted under his belt. So, a great CV there. An author, a historian, famous ghost walker in his local town of Derby, and also a haunted location owner, which we'll go into shortly, and one of the nicest guys, down-to-earth fellas in our field. So, with no further ado, can we welcome onto the show the one and the only Mr. Richard Felix.
Good evening. How are we doing?
Hi, Richard.
You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bit cold after yesterday. Can't believe it.
Freezing to death.
Beautiful day. I was sat outside yesterday afternoon on a deck chair and a sun lounger, and tonight it's got the bloody central heating on. It's freezing. Can't believe it.
I know, it's absolutely gorgeous last night.
Yeah,
It really
yeah,
was.
very strange. All right.
Yeah. So, Richard,
Yes.
okay, I've only got an hour, and I'll probably spend all day asking you questions, etc.
Not a problem.
The way we're going to work.
I told you that.
This is on the back of our event that we've got planned with you, July. John, is it 24th, something like that?
Yeah.
24th.
Yeah.
So it just sort of be nice to know a bit more about it, but obviously a bit more about yourself as well. That's possible. So what I'll do, I just want to talk a bit about your background, how you got to where you are today, please, if you could just go through it.
Good question. How I got where I am today. That's a very good question. I mean, Christ Almighty. I spent 30 years selling records. Derby Market Hall. I was a record dealer. And then I got into the tourism business because I realised the potential of attracting tourists into a city. 7 million visitors a year go to York.
Wow.
And what do they do when they're in York? Spend money, don't they? So being a businessman and chairman of Derby Chamber of Trade and all that sort of thing, I thought we need to try and attract visitors. I became chairman of Derby Tourism. And I thought, right, well, what can we do now? How can we bring? Well, York do ghost walks, don't they? Chester do ghost walks. Edinburgh does ghost walks. So I thought I will try a ghost walk. I'll start a ghost walk up, and I did. Now, of course, the thing is that I think just about everybody in the world knows I'm frightened of ghosts. Always have been since I was 4. And so it's a rather strange thing to want to do, really. But so I set up this ghost walk, and I did the first one. Everybody enjoyed it. I didn't. I thought, this is rubbish. I can't. If I'm going to stand for 3 hours walking around the city of Derby telling ghost stories, I've got to believe it. And so I stopped. I didn't do anything for 6 months, and I spent a lot of time researching. And there was the local guy, a medium, a 7th son of a 7th son, Irish. But if there is such a thing as a genuine medium, he was, right? And he'd done a lot of work about Derby, and I learnt an awful lot from this guy. I really did. Wayne Anthony was his name. And I learnt a lot. And I thought, right, new ghost walk, start this. I can believe in what I'm talking about. And I started the Derby Ghost Walk, which has gone absolutely bonkers. Had Derby declared the most haunted city in Great Britain, with York and Chester joint second. No one bad, was it? And it's in the print. It was in the Sun. So it must be true, mustn't it?
Yeah.
And really, it sort of snowballed from there. To the fact that I then took over. I ran a heritage centre in an old Tudor grammar school that was haunted, big time. And then I took over Derby Jail because I used to feature that on the Ghost Walk, and it came up for rent, sort of thing. And I took that over, and then I got this letter from this company called Antics Productions, that did a ghost program called Most Haunted.
Wow.
And they just started. They were in series 1 at the time, and they asked if they could come and do a program at Derby Jail. Well, yes, I said, of course you can. £750 for a location fee. When do you want to come? So they turned up, and I did this program, which was pretty good. It's the one where it was series 1, and it was the one where the cross moved on the bed in the condemned cell at Derby Jail. And that was the end of it. Great night. Thank you very much. Got the check, and then about a month later, I got a phone call from Yvette saying, "Do you remember me?" You know, I said, "Oh yeah, you came and did that TV program." Yeah. Well, I wonder if there's a possibility that Carl and Stuart could come back to Derby and have a talk to you. So I said, "Yeah, of course you can, by all means." So they came back down, and we sat having tea and cakes in the tea room in my heritage centre. And Carl said to me, "Oh, because I'd seen a ghost in Derby Jail at 3:20 on a Friday afternoon." And obviously, you know, that story came out on the programme. And Carl said to me, as the proprietor of the building, and also as a witness, because you'd seen a ghost in the building, we should have given you a 2-minute slot on the programme. But he said, to be quite honest with you, Richard, after 25 minutes, we really didn't know where to edit it. Would you like a job? And I said, "Ooh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's very nice." And it was actually when they just got rid of Jason Carl, basically. And they offered me a job there. So I said, "Yeah, thanks a lot." And I suppose you could say the rest is Most Haunted history, really. And that's actually how it started. But before then, because I'm trying to think. It was 2002 when we started Most Haunted. But I'd obviously, God Almighty, I'd started the tourism and the Heritage Centre and all that 10 years earlier in 1992, and I've been doing ghost walks there because I've now been doing them 30 years.
You've done over a million people, haven't you?
Yeah, 30 years of ghost walking and what have you. And lots. I mean, I've done lots of TV. I've done, God Almighty, Scariest Places on Earth, the Ghost Detectives, the Y-Files, you know, all sorts of ghosty TV programs before Most Haunted even came on the scene. So I've done quite a bit already, and that's really how it's just progressed from there, big time, you know. But then, you know, in the end, on series 100, I handed him a resignation. Well, we can talk some more about that if you want in a bit.
I'm not going to say the reasons probably why, but I can probably understand.
Well, a lot of people can, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But guys, listen, let me just say, I thank Carl and Yvette.
Yeah, of course.
For what they've done for me.
That's it.
It's done my profile no harm at all.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. And I say so often to people, that single programme has created more argument, more debate, more discussion, and more research than any ghost programme ever has.
100%
They set it. We wouldn't be here now.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
If it wasn't for Most Haunted.
I'll tell you what, the first 2 or 3 seasons, you'll find it difficult to beat what went on, especially when Derek was about. And
Absolutely.
It was unbelievable. It was a bastion, and it was the foundation of what we all do today, and it spiraled from that. 100%. I agree with you.
There's no doubt about it. You know, it became a phenomenon, and we got more viewers than The Simpsons.
Yeah.
In its heyday, when we were, you know, really going strong. And you know, well done, guys. You know, they've done. I can't criticize.
Yeah, of course.
Because they created an amazing entertainment program.
Yeah, I did. The first live I did, there was on UK Living. I think there's thousands in, you know, hundreds in the audience, and I think there was a Woodchester Mansion. I was just absolutely, you know, packed out to the rafters.
God Almighty, absolutely. And the bigger ones we then did in marquees and huge. I mean, it was incredible. It was a ball. It was fantastic. I'm certainly not knocking it in any way.
No, of course not. No, I don't think none of us would. You know.
No, exactly. Because, as I say, you know, it's created an awareness of the paranormal like no other. But unfortunately, over its period of time, it degenerated into Scooby-Doo.
You think it was more the TV companies themselves pushing for everything?
Rather than
bit of both.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I understand where they're coming from. because Joe Public wanted to be entertained.
Yeah.
And they believed that if there wasn't a scary happening every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
people would switch off.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Which they might have done. They might have done. But the thing is now, guys, that the world is ready for the reality.
Yeah.
The world is ready for a real ghost show.
Yep.
Yeah.
That explains what it's like. And you know, if nothing happens, oh dear, what a shame, nothing happens.
Exactly,
How many places have you been to and watched paint dry for hours?
Hundreds. Yeah. Hundreds.
We just have a laugh, don't we? We just have a laugh at the end of the night.
You can't
That's
make
why
it.
that's live fishing. Because live fishing is not going to be, it's probably more entertaining than watching a live ghost. Proper research, investigative.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But there's room for that. There's room.
Yeah.
But you try telling the television company that.
Yeah, no,
Because they don't understand. They don't understand what ghosts are.
no.
They don't understand. They think it's all scary stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is great for them because that's what they look for, isn't it?
Yeah, it
They
is.
only
That's
get one
why.
person, that's it.
That's why when we go to Alton Towers, we go on the scary rides
Yeah, the adrenaline.
rather than the runaway train or the one
No
that goes
chance.
round and round and round. You know what I
No
mean?
chance.
It's true, isn't it?
Very
definitely
true.
Yeah, it's scare factor.
Okay. Richard, what pushed me with you, with what I like particularly about you, is your love for military history. In relation to the Alamo and
Absolutely.
Custer and everything. That's
All
those
of it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's
Really,
that's
really
my passion
interesting.
in life. That's what you see. It's awful because I thank people for I get invited to go to events with people, which is lovely, and I appreciate it beyond words. But this isn't my hobby. This is my job. And so if I accepted every place that everybody wanted me to come, and I'd never be at home. So obviously I have to limit it to where I get paid to do it. Because my passion in life is military history. Soldiers, battles, uniforms, weapons, and funnily enough, it's obviously something to do with my makeup. Disasters, big time.
Titanic,
the Alamo, the Charge of the Light Brigade, Custer's Last Stand, the Titanic, stuff like that. Last stands where stood back to back with run out of ammunition. All they've got is the bayonets on it, and that sort of stuff. That's my great interest in life and history, of course. And you see, my view is that the two ghosts and history go together. As I heard you saying earlier, you're looking to do things now that have got more of a historical theme or background because
challenge ourselves.
Because you see the history. You see that's why I stopped the Ghost Walk business and started it again 6 months later, because I needed to tie in the history with the ghost.
Yeah.
If you can. And believe me, guys, you can frequently. And that's why, to me, there's a ghost in there. It's not enough.
No.
I want to know who is the ghost?
No.
Why is the ghost still there? What happened to that ghost that's caused it still to be there?
Those are the questions, isn't there? Those are the questions. I mean, if you could have a psychic artist drawing that character, or his name comes through on the spirit box, and then you research after the investigation, and then it just appears. Then boom! What a pleasure to have that.
That's right. And you see, that's what I tried to do on Most Haunted, but it didn't go down too well.
It took it out.
Because I would spend hours before. I'd always get there. I would spend hours beforehand, interviewing, if it was the staff or whoever it was, or the owner of the property, because I wanted to find out more about the place, the building, the property, the family or the families that live there. What had happened there that's caused the haunt, that sort of stuff. And then afterwards, I would then spend time in the local library, local studies library, museum, trying to find out more information about what Derek had come up with or what we actually unearthed during the event. but it wasn't needed because that show's over.
Yeah.
And that's not what I don't think that's what you wanted. I think you wanted I would take, if we found bones, right, I'd take them to the local museum and leave them with them to see if they could tell me were they human or was it a fox's bones, but it was over. And you see, so I used to say frequently, what we need to do is we need an extra show, a show after the show, to actually, for you, Joe Public, to come back either online or one or two of us go to a studio somewhere and explain what we've found since. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah.
But it never happened.
Yeah.
And it should. It still should. That's what should be happening now.
Definitely. So, just moving on, Richard.
Yes.
Time short, obviously. We have an event booked for you at Derby Jail. Is it?
Yep.
Is it jail or
jail? Yeah. You see,
jail.
The spelling. The original spelling is goal. GOAL, which is, I suppose, it's something that you put something into. A goal. And then it became GAOL, which is the spelling of my GAOL. And then it got colon, like American, Australia, and it became JAIL, and eventually a prison. But it's for jail. Derby Jail.
Jail. Right, John's got some questions on that because we want to know what we're letting ourselves into.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bought it in, when did you buy it? About 1970?
Oh, God, I've had it about 21 years.
97.
So what sort of condition was it in when you bought it?
Oh, dear. It was a nightclub. A very seedy nightclub that used to still be open at about 5:30 in the following morning, and the police used to raid it. And oh dear, and it had been absolutely trashed, knocked about. It's only the basement. It's the dungeons that are still preserved underneath, the high security dungeons, the condemned cells, and that sort of stuff. And everywhere had been knocked about. The doorways had been knocked open square rather than sort of archways. They'd knocked holes from one cell to another, from another cell to another. It was a mess, and it was all plastered, literally plastered and painted. And what doors there were just mounted on the walls. And I spent 18 months turning it back to look as much as it possibly could, like the jail would have done in 1756. Bricked up. I bought 18th century bricks, bricked up the doorways, hung the doors back, had some of the doors the paint stripper to get the paint off them that had covered up the incredible graffiti from the prisoners that's all over the doors, and literally put it back as we go. I found a fireplace in the day room, in the association room where you said goodbye to your family. There was a big fireplace that we found at the back. It'd be all boarded up and bricked up. And in that room there was a wooden dance floor, which we pulled up and stripped and found the original York sandstone flooring underneath. So we put it back as much as I possibly could to what it was.
A lot of work involved.
18 months it took. Yeah.
Derby Jail was renowned for having executions there. How many roughly were there?
Oh, well, the problem we've got with Mrs. Derby is typical because we just undersell our heritage and our history. There are no plans for the jail. We really don't know how many. It was 4 stories high, a basement and 3 stories, and actually 3 times as long as the part that I've got. But there are no plans. We cannot find any plans of what the jail was like inside. We've got pictures of the outside, but nothing to tell us how many cells there were, how many prisoners there would have been there. But there were 58 executions took place.
Wow. So for people who've never been there before, such as ourselves as well included, what's there in there? What have we got to look forward to?
A lot. Because I say it just about to everybody that ever comes or rings up about it. Nobody that I know of up to now has gone away disappointed in 21 years. It's very active. It's incredibly atmospheric, and there's just so much to do and see. And I mean, it's small. It's very small. But of course, remember that we've got two. You get two jails. You know that for the price of one.
Yeah.
Because when mine was bursting at the seams in 1820, there were 6 prisoners in each cell for 23 hours a day, which was and a bucket. That was it, and straw on the floor to sleep on. And so they built a new prison 8 minutes walk away. The most modern prison in the British Isles, actually, in 1828. And I've got what's left of that as well. And there's the execution room where they hang them, and one of the 2 circular Martello towers, which is extremely haunted. Which we take you there as well, and we split the group in half. We take one half, so you get 2 jails for the price of one. Yeah, and yeah, it's extremely active. End of story. It really is.
I mean, there's some of the notable prisoners who were executed there. Jeremiah Brandreth.
Oh God, yeah. He was the ringleader, the Nottingham captain. He was the ringleader of England's last revolution.
Yeah, she was on
17. And he was the last person in Great Britain to be beheaded with an axe.
And this was
the Derby jail.
Yeah.
Him and 2 mates were all hanged. They were sentenced. It was the last sentence of hanging, drawing, and quartering in provincial England. But they actually, I'm sure you all know what it entails. Your guts were ripped out. You were cut into, you beheaded. Your body was divided into 4 pieces, and that was to stop you going to hell. You see, stop you going to heaven. Because if the body wasn't whole on the day of judgment, there was no physical resurrection, and you go to hell. Which is one of the reasons it's caused ghosts to be still there, you see. Yeah. But they actually didn't draw and quarter them, which was jolly kind of them. They hanged them and then beheaded them in front of Derby Jail. It's incredible stuff. We've got one of the most famous highwaymen in the country that was hanged in 1780 in front of the jail. And we've just 5 weeks ago, a door that we've got about 9 original doors with the graffiti from the prisoners on it. But not only is the graffiti on it, but something that I've only just found, which is absolutely fascinating, is that all over the doors there are witch marks. Wow. Which are called Apotropaic Marks, which I take you around. We show you all this stuff. They're called Apotropaic Marks, and that's Greek for barring entry. And in the olden days, people were terrified of not witches, evil spirits coming through the doors. And so they would put marks around the doorway, around the window frame, and around the chimney to stop evil coming in from outside. And all over these doors are these marks, apotropaic marks, that the prisoners themselves, with knives, scratched on the doors because they were terrified then of evil spirits. It's incredible. There's some super stuff. And on this new door that we just got back after 21 years, there's handprints on the doors, left hand, because the left hand was the sinister hand, evil, to stop evil, and it's on the doors barring evil from coming in through the prison cell door to get them inside the cell. They were terrified. These buggers were terrified of ghosts, basically, because the place has always been haunted.
So, what is your actual favourite
ghost
account you've ever had there? Yeah.
Oh, me? Well, obviously seeing a ghost, full blown apparition. Yeah. 3:20 on a Friday afternoon, broad daylight.
Yeah. I think Gina asked that question from your fan club, saying, attempt to explain what the ghost he saw at the Derby and what are the scary cases.
Well, lot, but I mean that was. I mean, you can't, guys. That's the first ghost. Sorry, it's the only ghost I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking broad day. I was in there alone in the kitchen. I'd actually gone in to raid the till from the night before. It was daytime. Last Friday in November it was. And I'm on the phone to a guy from Derby City Council looking through one of the apertures in the wall that had been cut in, which we left when it was a nightclub. When this grey hazy shape of a person glided past this cutout window. It wasn't a window; it hadn't got a glass in it. It was just an opening, and I didn't see it out the corner of my eye. I saw it full on. I'm still on the phone talking to this bloke from Derby City Council, watching this grey haze person shaped glide, but not only watching it but sensing it. I saw it and I sensed it, and it glided by for probably at least 4 seconds until I lost it when it got to a corner. And oh, bloody hell! I mean, it didn't do me a lot of good, I tell you. I said to this, I've just seen a bloody ghost. He said, luckily I knew him. I said, hang on, Darren, just a minute, hang on. And I put the phone down because I did what everybody does, converted it to reality. We're not open, but somebody's come in. They may look rather grey and a haze, but someone's come in. We're not open, but they're coming. So I stuck my head around the counter. I just shouted, excuse me, down into nobody there. And then
that leads to my next question, really. As you are in the jail, have you ever spent the whole night completely alone?
No, never.
Is there any reason?
I am actually frightened of it. I am frightened of it, especially at night. Yeah, even though what I saw was in daytime, I still have problems staying there. If when we finished the ghost walk and I happened to be alone, I would leave washing up until the next morning and leave with the last person.
Wow.
Now then. Yeah, that's after 21 years.
Okay, well, that's all I've got for you. So I'll lead you over to my friend Paul.
Hello, Rich. How you doing, mate? You're right.
Hey, mate. Yeah, I'm fine. Are you?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks, mate. Just a few questions basing on equipment. Obviously, in the paranormal field, we use a lot of equipment to try and detect. Do you use equipment when you do investigations?
Me, not a lot, because you see, my view on the whole thing is the only ghost detector is you and your dog. And for me, equipment is an aid, for want of a better word. In other words, you say, "Oh my God, the temperature's dropped in here. My God, it's got," and you get your old laser thermometer out, and that red light hits the wall. Well, all that does is record the temperature of the wall that it hits. Yeah. So if, in other words, if you're stood in the room and you say the temperature dropped, then what you really need, of course, is a thermometer with a probe that you actually dangle in the middle of the room where you said the temperature's dropped. Great. And it says, yes, the temperature's dropped by whatever degrees. Right? Wow, fantastic. But it doesn't prove there's a ghost there. Mm-hmm. All it proves is that the temperature's dropped. Yeah. You know what I mean, don't you? And the same with EMF meter. Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. But just are we sure that or a K2, which I think are great, by the way. I think they are good. But are you sure everybody's phone's switched off? Mm-hmm. Are we getting messages from the babysitter rather than from the spirit world?
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
But yes, I am. Of course. I mean, I think obviously, my theory on the whole ghost business is that I want to change the name from ghost to energy, because that's what it is. Yeah. That's what we are. That's what ghosts are. Energy. Right. And so it's a damn sight easier for a ghost, in my opinion, to affect a piece of energy, equipment, electrical energy, be it a computer, a telephone, a television, a K2 meter, or anything like that. They are much, because they do all the time. It's much easier for them to affect those little red and yellow lights coming on and off than it is to move a chair. Yeah, much easier for them. And so I do believe in equipment, but I still believe that deep down, the only real equipment is your mind, your brain, or your dog's brain, to be quite honest with you. But the problem with that is that, as you said, oh my God, you're like me, standing there, watching a ghost go past me for one. I couldn't prove it to anybody else.
Yeah.
Even unless that another person was with me and they saw it as well, which doesn't often happen because it seems to be in your perception rather than, you know what I mean? So two people can stand there and only one person sees it.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a difficult one, guys. But I tell you what I'm very interested in. A heat-seeking. In other words, what are they called?
Thermal imaging.
Fire brigade. Thermal imaging camera. Yeah, because you see, my theory, another of the many, is that ghosts are energy, but ghosts also need energy to do something, right? This is why so often you walk into a room or you're in the room and people say, oh my God, and the temperature, it suddenly dropped. It dropped as if someone had opened a freezer door. And then I saw this figure. So in other words, the figure, the entity, the spirit, needs energy to appear, and heat is energy. So it draws the heat from the room, which causes the temperature in the room to drop, and then the image appears. That means that entity, that energy that has drawn the energy from the room must be hot.
Yeah, good.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And so it should be seen on a thermal imaging camera.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we have had some interesting images on the thermal imaging camera.
Yeah. That's a thought, anyway. You know.
What would your take
I'm into it, but I prefer dousing crystals and your own mind to, you know.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned stuff. And table tilting and glass divination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just answered my second question then, because I was going to say, do you believe old school equipment is better?
Yes.
E.g., your dowsing rods, your seances,
people,
crystals,
circles,
divination.
Divination. What's it? You know, in a circle, and I can't remember what it's called.
Pendulum. Human pendulum.
Hang somebody upside down in the middle of the room. And let them
That's a good idea.
I wonder if it would work.
Yeah, because touching base on that, if you got a spirit from the 1800s and you're pushing something that's just been built today, you ain't going to know what to do with it. It's going to class it as witchcraft and stay away.
Of course, very much so. Yeah, very, very much so. Yeah, because you keep, explain. You know, we have this little machine sitting on the floor with some lights on it. You know, what will you move forward and make the lights come on? Well, you've hit the nail on the head. You know, begone evil demon. You know, they would. Why would they? How would they know what to? But then again, they do, guys, because they do affect computers. They do affect light bulbs. They do affect what's the other TVs. You know, it does happen. TVs come on, go on. It's energy. They can affect energy, but whether they're doing it on purpose or whether they just happen to be interfering with it without knowing is a different matter.
Yeah. Energy never dies, does it? Energy never dies.
No,
the old Einstein theory just transforms.
First law of thermodynamics: you can neither create or destroy energy. All you can do is alter its state, which is what happens when we die.
So
we get
transformed.
Yeah, transformed into something else. Yeah, great believer in that. Great believer in it.
Yeah, me.
We all do, I think.
So the next question I got is, what would you class as good evidence if you haven't seen it with your own eyes or ears?
Oh dear, that's the whole point. You see, I say to people, I can honestly tell you guys that there is no proof that ghosts exist. None. I defy you guys. I say this to my audience. Yes. I defy any of you here to give me proof that there are ghosts.
Well, because the day that happens, we all give up, don't we? We'd all be out of the job because people. But honest to God, guys, you know, that's the big one. Show me
And when I say, oh, I've got this picture, I've got this photograph, I've got this EVP, I saw this guy. Look, guys, I saw a ghost 20 past 3 on Friday afternoon. I can't prove it to you.
No.
Yeah.
I can't prove it to anybody.
Yeah.
Believe me or don't believe me, it doesn't matter. I still can't bring you proof. And for as long as people have seen ghosts, heard ghosts, sensed ghosts, felt, smelled ghosts, and everything else, nobody can actually give us proof that it exists. But I tell you what, I say that. But I don't know how long we've got, but just very quick. At the end of most of my talks and events, when I do this, I say to people, I can give you the best bit of proof that I can give you that ghosts exist is the fact that children under the age of 5 have imaginary friends.
Yeah.
And that's our way of dealing with it. But the number of accounts I get from Joe Public that their little boy, little girl comes down the bedroom downstairs and says, "Mummy, why does that old lady come into my bedroom at night?" And she smiles at me, and she's really nice, and well, she's got vivid imagination. End of story. Yeah. And then Christmas comes around, and this happens. Oh, God knows how many times. And then all of a sudden, everyone's there, family's round at Christmas, photographs come out. And all of a sudden, the little boy goes, "Oh, Mummy, look, there's the lady that comes into my bedroom." And everyone puts hands over their mouth. Oh, my God, what's the problem? What's the problem? It's his grandma. It's his grandma. Well, yeah. Well, no, he's only 5. Grandma's been dead for 9 years. He's never seen her. And this happens over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, definitely.
That, to me, is all the proof anybody needs.
Yeah, definitely. Where is the most scariest place that you think you have visited?
Oh, bloody hell. Right. Craigenaugh's Castle was pretty damn scary, I'll tell you. I've never been back. I'd love to go and do an event there. I really would. That was the sort of place that there was, when we were going round, I think it was me, Phil Wyman and Yvette going round, and it was the sort of place that I really did not want to be at the back. That's how it was. Didn't like that. And of course I had a sort of quite a strange incident during the night in the bedroom that I was in on my own. When I got up to go to the loo, got a private bathroom with it, and I came out and saw this figure lying horizontally across the bed. No, not horizontally, at an angle across the bed. A female. I thought, hey, me looks in tonight. But there was nobody there. I actually went up and pushed the bed to see. There was nothing there. That really did. I found that most disturbing. So when I started wearing a crucifix after that bothered me. That really bothered me. And the other one, of course, was cabin 340 of the Queen Mary.
Oh,
that was beyond anything. That was, something thrown around my room in the middle of the night, and there was nothing there at all. That frightened me to death. That did. That was scary as anything. And then quite a few places. Certainly on Most Haunted, where I've been alone, doing sort of something alone at night, and one or two. But Craigenaugh's and the Queen Mary, definite. Oh, Bottle Widden, when the table shot across the cellar at me as well. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
Last question then. What place that you haven't been to that you jump at to go to do an invest?
Tower of London. Please. Yeah. I mean, come on, that's it's because it's famous, but it's got some fantastic ghost stories to do with it, and you'll never get in. We'll never get there because obviously it's a royal palace or building. Although you can go to the other place. Can't remember the name of it. Isn't it funny how you forget things when you? The Henry VIII's place. I can't remember. But Tower of London, I would, love to do, but I also desperately want to do the Alamo in Texas.
Really interesting one.
Yeah, that would be really. And of course, here's one. What about it? Is the Titanic haunted?
True. Yeah.
Why does water stop ghosts being there?
Water's a conductor, isn't it?
Of
So
course it is, big time, because it contains silica amongst other things, which is all to do with my recording theories. But why shouldn't the but then again, not many people have been down there, have they? Not live ones, anyway.
Yeah,
I've heard they're still in the swimming pool though. So
I wonder. 1,500 people lost their lives down there.
Yeah. Okay, then. Thank you for that. I'll hand you over to Joanne now, who's got a few questions. Thank you, Rich.
Pleasure. Hi, Joanne.
You do well.
More questions, all right. More questions. Have you ever been affected by a spirit?
Affected? No, I don't think I have. Frightened by a spirit, but when I say affected, in America, I was actually touched up by a spirit. For want of a better word. On in Gettysburg, that bothered me to the extent where I fell off the rocks and cut my leg open, which nobody's ever seen. It's on film somewhere, and I've never done anything with it yet. That was about 12 years ago. But affected, you sort of like mentally sort of thing. No, I don't think anything could ever get through to me.
I mean, have you ever felt like the presence of what has it affected you, like your breathing, or like your head aches and stuff like that?
No. Oh,
have you?
Trying to think of somewhere not too long ago, because that doesn't happen to me, to be honest with you. Funnily enough, the old Bell hotel in Derby that we were doing an event once, and yes, I actually started to feel quite lightheaded, which doesn't happen to me, because I often feel that it's people sort of fake that and make out that, and it did happen to me. I actually had to go. I was in the circle and I actually went out the room because I was really quite lightheaded, and I can't give an explanation for why it happened. So yes, it did. Just once. That's all. But you see, I refer to myself as a psychic brick with a B. I just don't sense stuff as a rule.
So do you always use spiritual protection before an event?
No, very seldom. Only if people ask for it. Well, sorry. When I say that, they don't say, "Oh, please, can you?" I say, by the way, guys, I don't particularly believe in it, because I don't believe that most spirits are there to get you, because I think that, ghosts, like people, are nice, because ghosts were once human beings, and most human beings are nice. That means most ghosts are nice. But if people then say, "Oh, yes, please," then I will do it. And I use a sort of pagan one that I use, because I tend to be going over more and more to becoming, I think, probably a pagan than anything else. But other than that, no, I don't. No, very, very seldom do I bother.
Interesting.
Thank God.
Because you see, I don't believe they're evil. I don't do demons.
Maybe that they've just had a bad life or bad experience.
Well, that you've got. Listen, guys. I just say this: if you don't think for 1 minute Hitler's wandering around picking daffodils at this time of year.
So, do you use crystals at all? And what is your favourite crystal?
Yeah. A quartz crystal. I've got a built-in, dowsing crystal, quartz one that I use all the time, and love it. Do a lot of stuff like that, and I also use it to detect, to demonstrate energy that is in stone.
Yeah.
By putting your hand on the stone and watching the crystal gyrate, and it also works with a human skull.
So you believe in the stone tape theory, then, Richard?
Huge believer, huge exponent of the. I mean, I get ridiculed because I still call it the stone tape theory, but it could really be either the water tape theory or the silica tape theory.
Yeah.
I'm a huge expert. I believe that 60% of ghosts are a recording held in the fabric of the building. And the other 40% are an intelligence, you know, the spirit and soul of a dead person. But yeah, I'm a big believer in a lot of it's a recording, but we call it a ghost because we don't understand it.
And certain environments make the playback from that specific material. So if it's lightning, stormy weather, that could generate energy to trigger the playback.
Absolutely. But it can also trigger the recording. Like you'd be surprised the number of battles that were fought in electric storms. And because of that, the famous one, of course, is the Battle of Edge Hill in Northamptonshire, where the battle was seen over and over again after the battle took place. But the fascinating thing about it is that basically King Charles I sent some of his officers back to Edge Hill to investigate, and they saw the same thing happening, but they actually recognised soldiers that were still alive.
Wow.
Yeah, not dead, not spirits. Yeah, that was a fascinating case. Fascinating case.
That's strange. I never heard that. So that's the
Oh
playback.
God, yes, yeah. It was it was Christmas Eve actually. I can't remember 1600 and whatever. And they basically, some shepherds coming back, herding in the sheep Christmas Eve, saw the battle being reenacted in the sky. And of course it was ghosts. You see, it was ghosts to them, you see. And it got back to the king, who was at Oxford at the time, and he sent some guys back to investigate. They saw it as well. And the battle was fought in an electric storm. Water and electricity.
No way.
Yeah, but some of the images were of life.
My last sorry.
Joe.
So my last was my last question was, have you ever crossed a spirit over that needed crossing over, or else?
Yes, I've done it quite a lot. Yeah. I learned it from David Wells, because you see, as I've said to you before, I'm not a medium, I'm not a spiritualist, I'm not even a sensitive, but I do believe that I am sensitive to the subject, and I have a word which I use all the time, which is respect. Because they were once you and me.
Definitely.
And I believe that often I know who I'm talking to, even if they've not told me who I'm talking. You know, because I believe I've done that. I know the history of the place, and I know who this could be and why they could be there. And then I ask them over and over again, "Are you happy here? All right. Do you want to? No, I'm frightened. I daren't move over. I said, well, you don't. There's no reason for you to believe me, but I can tell you that you can leave this place, and I've done it frequently, actually. Whether it's successful, I can't tell you, but I've done it frequently. Yeah.
It's the right thing to do, isn't it?
Yes. That's the last thing. You know how I said at the beginning. Who is the ghost? What's its name? Why is it there? What happened to it that's caused it to be there? And the big one, of course, I didn't say to you, which the other one is, and what can we do for you? Well, why should you? It's a ghost. Why should we want to do anything? Because it was a human being and it shouldn't be here. It should be gone. It should be given the chance to go if it can, if it wants to. But it doesn't know it can.
Spirit rescue should be, any of us doing it should be the forefront of our action.
But of course, what I say, you see, the problem I've got is while I'm doing this, talking to them on, be it the glass, the Ouija board, and I say, but why should you believe me? You know, you've spent the last 300 years here because you're terrified to move on because of what you've done and the teachings of the church, or because you're still waiting for something to happen that, like you to be proved innocent because you didn't commit that crime that they hanged you for, or whatever it happened to be. Why should you believe me? Who am I to, so I can't tell you whether it really works or not, but I try.
It's really good.
Okay. So we have some questions. With the questions from the audience, the viewers.
Be better.
Let's have a look then. So, have you got some, John? Can you see the question?
I see the same with you, my friend. So,
okay. Could you ask Richard about the Derby Heritage Centre and Guildhall tunnels and whether we can do investigations there as well as the jail?
Unfortunately, not.
No.
I mean, number one, unfortunately, Derby Heritage Centre, I closed down about 8 years ago now, unfortunately, and it's become a hairdresser's, which is terrible because it's a hairdresser's. It was an old Tudor grammar school. The number of famous schoolboys that went there, and it's built on top of a plague pit. We actually found 3 skeletons under the floors in the building, and it got a ghost of a little boy upstairs. No, it's a fantastic place for hauntings, but unfortunately, it's a bloody hairdressers now, which is typical Derby. And unfortunately, the tunnels under Guildhall are closed at the moment because of health and safety. And I'm working on big time, but they reckon we need to spend £100,000 to get them accessible, but which is absolute rubbish. But I've been taking people down there for 25 years, but at the moment they're closed, which is a shame. Big shame. Big shame.
It's a shame.
Oh dear. Okay, Craig. In terms of activity at Derby, is it more residual or intelligent? Are there voices heard after the evidence at the Ram? I'd love to get in there with my ITC equipment. So, yeah, is it mainly well, what we've been talking about is mainly residual?
Both. Very, very, very much both. Because of the amount of things that have gone on in Derby, because of its central location, people passing through, things happening, a battle of Derby in 917, ferocious fighting between the Vikings and the Saxons, 5 different prisons, jails in Derby at one time or another, executions beyond anything, religious persecution, hanging, drawing and quarterings in Derby, female martyrs burnt alive at the stake. I mean, we've got it all. We really have. Plus 18 coaching inns and stagecoaches thundering through the streets of Derby, highwaymen inhabiting the coaching inns, waiting for people with thick, juicy purses full of gold. And oh boy, I mean, it really has got an awful lot of history, and it's got 7 underground streams going underneath it, 9 ley lines passing through the centre of it. Energy, and a river going through it. So you've got the a lot of it's residual, definitely, but then again, there's also what I believe to be an awful lot of, for want of a better word, tormented souls that are still lingering for reasons, murders and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, every town and city's got its fair share, but the fact that Derby is the most central city and has been a crossing of the ways for 2,000 years means that so many people have some have stayed, some have gone on to greater things, some have been sent back, dispatched back. It's got a very checkered history, so it's a bit of both, to be honest with you. I can't say which is more. To be honest with you, could be either.
It all depends on the evening, doesn't it? What the environment is, where the moon's lying, what phase of the moon, all that,
yeah.
Okay, Adam Norton, will this allow a 3-day lockdown at the jail?
Yeah, of course I would. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, bring it on. Good idea. Bring it on. We did.
Richard wouldn't stay there, would he?
We let a TV company do a week. It's called the Ghost Detectives, and they did a week in Derby Jail. That was amazing. That was a few years ago. That was, God, I forgot that. I can't even remember what No, they reckon they found ley lines going through the centre of the building and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Okay. On most haunted, you used to do lone vigils and walks. Is there anywhere in the jail that you would not like to be alone,
And that's Liz Batten.
Liz?
Oh, yeah, it's got to be the condemned cell. When you think that, like, you know, God knows how many, at least 50 odd people have been locked away in there waiting for death, and people committed suicide in there, including 2 brothers that hanged themselves the night before their execution. John and Benjamin Jones hanged themselves from the wood above the door of the cell. That's the room. That's the one. You know, people do not like it in there, and I don't think I've never done it actually. I've spent an hour in there alone with a camera. That was enough. Nothing happened, but then again, why should it happen then? But yeah, condemned cell at Derby Jail is pretty. Oh, and of course the other one is on the other jail, of course, that I've got, the other prison. I've never done this at all. Perhaps I should do this for charity sometime. We've obviously got the execution room. We've got the room where they stepped out onto the gallows. And that's not got a nice atmosphere in it. No, I never thought of that one. I need to do that sometime to raise money for charity.
Yeah.
Ooh, perhaps not.
Ghosty Posty Dennis, I remember somewhere you did a lone vigil in a jail with some mannequins. He thinks it was Tamworth Castle. Did you sometimes forget they was there and mistake them for someone or something being there?
I do remember Tamworth Castle. I can't remember doing it. I remember there being a mannequin of a nun in a particular room, but I mean, to be honest with you, the only thing that really sticks in my mind at Tamworth Castle is when the fire alarm went off and we all had to vacate the building. That was the most exciting thing that happened that night. I actually don't remember. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't think mannequins don't particularly bother me, because I've always lived with them, always had them around. Because, you know, I 14 years of the Heritage Centre, I had lots of mannequins in the exhibition room upstairs. Same with Derby Jail, we've had mannequins of the jailer and the executioner down there, and so it's not something that particularly bother me. No. I'm more frightened of the dead than anything.
The living as well.
Yeah, but you should. Yeah, you should be
I'm frightened of the living.
Right. Well, that's over an hour. That's an hour and 2 minutes. So,
oh my God! Tell you, doesn't it fly when you're having fun?
Right. Yeah. But Richard, how can people follow your work? And
right, yeah. Well, obviously, my website with everything on it, the ghost walks, the tours, the books, the DVDs, and everything else that I do is richardfelix.co.uk. richardfelix.co.uk. And if anybody wants to send me any information or let me know, my email address is richardfelix@gmx.com. Golf Mike X-ray, richardfelix@gmx.com. But as I say, anything you want to know, that all the ghost walks, we're just starting them up again after May the 17th. I do 4 different ghost walks, God help me, around Derby. We do private events, you know, you can book Derby Jail, and the phone number and everything. It's all on richardfelix.co.uk.
We have a lot of people from other teams watching this evening, so hopefully, you know, they'll follow our book up as well. So
yeah, well, I tell you, we're open for it's. I mean, it's 500 quid from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning, and you get 2 jails, not 1. You know, we take you to both of them, and if you want me there, God help you, I'm afraid it's another 100 quid.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I do that and do a talk and take you around and everything else as well.
We've hired your services, definitely hired your services.
But I'm also available to go on your events to places. But obviously I have to charge you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We have a couple we got in mind as well. We'd like to get you Smedic baths, to be honest.
Get Richard in.
I was going to say
I'd
Smethwick
love,
Box.
I'd love somebody to invite me there. I've
Yeah,
never
you
done
can come with
Smethwick
us
Box.
because we'll sort it out for you.
That'd be
I
great.
would love to come and do that.
Halloween.
Right.
Why
So
not?
you'd like Smethwick Box.
Halloween night.
Still
Wow.
all the graffiti from the air raid shelters. What they used to
Really? Wow.
Big place,
on the
yeah.
walls.
Yeah, it sounds great, but I've heard a lot about it, but I've never been.
We'll send you all the details, Richard. and we'll
Yeah,
sort
do
something.
that.
Yep, definitely.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, so really that's it. So we just
Okay,
want
guys.
to thank Richard and everybody for tuning in this evening. So
Can't wait to get there in July. We're so much looking forward to getting there to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah.
gonna be brilliant. Gonna be brilliant.
Great. It'd be great.
All right. Okay, we'll leave it. God bless and everybody take care.
Talk to you soon,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a nice Easter.
See you soon. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers.